slightly different, but I always think of things like, body shaming, et cetera, how suddenly it's okay to body shame as long as the person is a cis white male, then, it's free reign. Then you have people that are very much willing to almost cross their own value system, because when it's a woman, it's, you can't body shame, you have to accept her exactly as she is, et cetera, et cetera. But as soon as it's a man who's overweight, or he's short, or he has a small penis, then it's suddenly okay. So there's just so many contradictions that I think of sometimes, which I find very interesting.
And that's where the victim identity comes into play, because if you feel like you are lesser based on these systemic issues, and that you face hardship at a degree higher than, say, a cis white male, well, that justifies that level of animosity towards them, because you don't know what it's like being me, so I can call you these things. I can say kill all white people because I'm fighting against a system that's violent against me, or I can say kill all men. And I mean, that's a pretty incendiary thing to say, regardless of whether even those nebulous concepts about power are correct. That's quite a strange thing to say and feel proud of. Um,
Right, right. And it's have you heard of that term, the soft bigotry of low expectations? Um,
yes,
right,
I love that term. If I
right.
if I remember correctly, that's Majid Nawaz coined that, and that refers to the notion that certain cultural, racial, or sexual groups are held to a lower standard than the groups that are supposedly in power, and
Yeah.
this is to supposedly, again, ameliorate the systemic disadvantages that they may face. But I don't see how that helps anyone who may even be disadvantaged. I mean, ironically enough, the disabled community make a point of saying, "No, we're not victims. Don't treat us like victims. We're just as able as any of you." And I wish some of these other groups had that kind of a mentality. I mean, I think recently Washington State in America, correct me if I'm wrong here, someone in the comments or something like that, but they are now they're just, not only are they having a different standard for the black students, but they're just taking away the subject of maths altogether, or they're just not even they're just saying they need not participate in standardized testing. And that is treating blackness like it is well, I don't even want to say disability, because like I said, the disabled community don't even see themselves as disabled. So it's treating it like it's a
Like it's some kind of,
giant handicap. What, you
yeah,
can't do
yeah.
equations because you're black? I mean, that's ridiculous.
It's
That's racist.
it is. And you know what, as we were talking earlier about the savior actually causing more harm to the person they are supposedly trying to protect, this thing that's happening, and I read about that as well last week, and I was listening to a few people having those conversations, that it just means that Black people, if we're specifically speaking about that race, it just means that further down the line, they are not going to be able to enter the same spaces or to have the same economic opportunity as everyone else. So it just feeds that very same cycle. And you would never be able to do this elsewhere. Try that shit in Africa. You would never be able to do that ever. And it just makes me think, what are we actually trying to do here? It doesn't make any sense to kind of say, you know what, we don't expect much from you, so you can actually sit this one out, you know. Yeah, I find it to be very bizarre. I'm looking into that a little bit more as well, to just see how these things that are being put into place actually end up causing more harm to those people, because I want to be able to articulate some of these things better and to just have really useful conversations around it, because I think it's so important. I think it's so important. You know, instead of looking at how we can help children study better, how we can look at the conditions that they have at home that might be stopping them from coming into school, from studying, etc., looking at neurodiversity to see if there's an issue with, you know, just how people process information. we decide that actually they don't even have to do it at all. I just, yeah, I find that really strange.
It doesn't fit the political narrative, because a lot of the statistics that I've at least read is that if you're from, particularly if you're from a lower socioeconomic background, a moderate dose of social conservatism actually can be very helpful for you to move up the social mobility ladder. So having two parents in the home and sort of being quite strict and abstemious when it comes to uh, other things, and delaying gratification and these sorts of things are what will ultimately help uh, poor black, brown, BIPOC children reach the potential that they're capable of reaching.